Hey, listeners, thank you so much for joining us for the second season of Midlife at the Mailbox. Over 8 years ago, Denyse and I met during a chance meeting at our neighborhood mailbox. Over the years, our friendship has blossomed into something bigger.
We can't wait to tell you all about it. And although we no longer share a mailbox, we really are closer than ever in real life. This meeting at the mailbox inspired a friendship, a business relationship, a lot of laughs, a couple tears, and now a podcast. So come along and listen in. We're so glad you're here. Hey, Mailbox. It's Denyse and Amy again. How are you, Amy?
Hi, Denyse. I'm great. Do you like my new glasses?
I do. And I'm matching here with my little tortoise glasses. Mailbox, we are so excited today because, well, we're always excited to be back at the mailbox, but today is our last planned episode of our season 2. It has been such a fun season, right, Amy?
It has been such a fun season. I'm sad for it to end, but I'm excited to take a little bit of a breather from this over the summer. I don't know about you, but I always still think of summer as like when we were younger and like we had summer break. So I still think of summer as an adult as summer vacation. So I think that
that's a midlife moment for sure. That could be another podcast, right? We could talk about what kind of midlife summer we led, leading through our kids, right? Summer camps. I know Caleb's going off to like big sleepover camp for multiple.
Yes, he is.
So, and same here. We got lots of things going, but yeah, that's not why we're here today. We're kind of here to do a little look back as we wrap up our season. We wanted to, leave you all with like some perspective on how we thought it went, right? Because we embarked on it back in like fall of 2022. Amy and I really wanted, after we wrapped the first season, we thought this was fun. How do we improve it for next season? And there was all sorts of, our thought processes was really going in our brainstorming. We had Google Sheets and we were asking friends and talking to, Hivecast and production companies. We were really, hyped up. I hope it showed in our season. We had so many great things coming into it, and kind of two things just to give you some perspective. If you've been a listener here at the mailbox, you might notice differences between season 1 and season 2. Is coming out of season 1, we ended it with our first guest appearance with Brad Smith. He was a creator of a really fun board game called Talkative. Go back to learn about Brad and how he built this really fun board game. And my son loves Talkative, by the way, Brad. So it's a great one. We love it.
I love it.
Yeah. And then we thought, let's do more guests. Let's share our network. Amy and I have amassed a network over the years of really amazing people and professionals that we wanted to share, right? We wanted to share our network with you and share the fun things that they're doing. So you might notice we started the season with 5, guests in a row, right? We got really creative.
We were busy and we had like a whole criteria in our spreadsheet as to like what we were looking for these guests. And we think that from our perspective, that it really helped to lock in what we wanted to be able to bring to the table for this season.
Right. And I mean, really what that was, our ultimate goal and our mission in season 2 was to share information with you that we thought, was valuable, that we thought people in our network, right? And the things that they're doing and the good work that they're doing would be valuable to you. So we wanted to share our network, our thoughts, and our ideas around midlife. And we hope that came through in our messaging and in our content. And with that, we kind of wanted to take a look back. We were reminiscing that in the 90s and the 80s, sitcoms would often like do these throwback episodes, right? They would look back at previous seasons of memories and things. Like Golden Girls was classic for that. I think I referenced Golden
Girls. Friends would do that a lot too, where they would pull, they would do like when Rachel and when Ross was getting married to Emily, they did a whole like throwback over like all of Ross and Rachel's relationship as she was mailing back the invitation. And so, I think that's kind of like our thought process, right, Denyse, for this episode. And so we're
And so
excited.
we joke that, sitcoms are not even long enough or even in existence anymore to do these. So Mailbox is bringing our version of it to you. But some of the things we thought we shared this season were kind of themes that we wanted to highlight was entrepreneurial topics. We talked about networking in many, many different areas, right? We talked about that kicked off our season with Stephanie German talking all about how she, builds her business through networking and operational processes. Really good, solid episode, especially if you're looking to build a business. So kick back that episode this summer and save it for your next road trip if that's something you're looking to do. Uh, we embarked on covering a topic like building a brand or a business. We invited Jessica Cummings or Jessie Cummings, the creator of Titty City Designs. And if you remember, Titty City is a body positivity and breast health brand that promotes breastfeeding and breast health amongst really cool designs, whether it's on telephone case or cell phone cases, planted pots, mouse pads, you name it.
Any place that she could put some tits, there are tits.
And so, but she not only inspired us with her designs, but also her approach to building community, especially amidst COVID for new moms. And that was really inspiring. And that feels like ages ago, but it was not that long ago.
No.
But that was episode 13. Amy shared with us so many social media tactics and strategies, as well as Lindsay Pinchik, who is also a social media coach, shared her tried and true ways that she scales those social media for her businesses and her podcast.
A little bit of a fangirl moment for me having my business coach on our podcast. So that was really fun.
Also a full circle moment, right? Like Jessie Cummings was my client.
Yeah.
I worked with her at LHH. I was just inspired by what she did, and I told Amy about it, and she's like, "Let's do it." Right? Stephanie German was connected to Amy through,
a funny story. Go back and listen.
That's a funny story. Saved Amy, a couple $1,000, but really cool. And then she's from my hometown, so there are just so many synergies, right? So
and we had. Yeah. And I was going to say, we had your high school friend, Beth Bowen, who taught herself how to paint via YouTube and just changed her life by, picking up a paintbrush, and your original OG bestie, Gia, which was amazing. And she gave us some awesome tips about how leadership skills and motherhood or fatherhood go hand in hand. Right. Mm-hmm. So those were awesome.
Yeah. We got so many esteemed guests coming in here, right? And these are people that we valued their content. We thought you would too. And we saw it in our downloads, right? So thank you all for listening. If you have listened already, or go back and check out some of those. All are available.
And our most hands-on episode, we don't want to forget Allison, who taught us about clearing away our fears through tapping. And Allison, while she was a client of mine and took my Think Like Instagram course, we also met through networking, through a Queen Bee event at a local business. So again, the power of networking and just really kind of opening up your network and being open to just hearing people's stories is really, really powerful.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, literally, we were hands-on tapping with our fingers, right? Everyone, if you haven't heard about the method or methodology or the self-care practice of tapping, EFT tapping, check out that episode. It is episode, let me see, it
18.
is episode 15.
No, 18.
Oh, sorry,
episode 18.
Episode 18, yes. Clearing away the fear blocks by using tapping to manifest the life of your dreams, right? She's also helps people try to find, mates. She works a lot with divorced moms. So if you're, someone that's looking for inspiration that way, check out episode 18, right? Allison Jane Ewing is awesome. She's also an author and psychotherapist. So really great.
Yeah.
She was great.
And I was going to say, we don't want to forget our midlife moment episodes where you told us about caring for your dad and your parents during this, and being in the sandwich generation, coming off of his surgery, and how that kind of, changed some course in the early part of 2023, that you were not necessarily fully prepared for, but you took that in stride and ran with it and made your sandwich.
Yeah, and I mean, we learned along the way, right? We lined up these 5, guests, and we thought, okay, this is how we're gonna, launch our season. But then we realized we missed the midlife moments, right? Talking about some of
Right.
that, the original, content and the things we started sharing. So that's when we started to, go back to
Our
our top.
passion.
Yeah, go back to our topic sheet, and that's what, we made an initial plan and we definitely changed it, right? But that's okay, right? And we talk about that a lot this season as well. I mean, I really feel like I came into my own in terms of like owning midlife. Like I think before, like people used to say you're not in midlife yet, in your early 40s, but turning 45 in February, I'm in it, guys. Like, I'm halfway to 90. So there you go. That's, and if I
Oh
live
my
to
God.
if I live to 90, I'll be a very happy woman. But yeah, I mean, sandwich generation, that was big for me. I truly felt it. I'd seen friends around me and I empathized with them and then I was in it. And it was a little bit of taken by a surprise. So, I really felt like I own that and embrace that and really feel like we did that here too.
Sorry,
But
I'm still on your halfway to 90 comment.
well, it's true.
And I was gonna say, and speaking of your halfway to 90, we went back and in episode 21, we talked about how quickly life does move and making sure that you are checking off and checking off your goals and making sure that you're making some small progress on reaching those. Right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like trying to, talk to you about just like things that we think that that we all encounter, right, in this midlife, game we're in. Right. Something as simple as like writing down your dreams, long term and short term, right? I love talking about those things because that's what gets me excited. Or even talking with Lindsay, season episode 22 about unlocking success, right? And how she just asked for it. But really that was a theme throughout as well. Beth Bowen, even when she was, negotiating a trip to Dubai and selling a piece of her artwork, what's the worst that could happen? They say no, right? I mean, Beth herself explained that she had so many other challenges and tragedies in her life prior to that, whether it was through divorce or losing a parent, that the worst that she could get was a no to her trip to Dubai was the easiest thing that she was going to swallow in the past 5 years. And so that was
And she got
inspiration.
that trip.
Yeah, she got that trip. So, yeah, and so, I think we were all inspired by stories like that, and so that's why we opened up the mailbox to our guests, and it just got a lot bigger. We hit on a lot of those things now. So, if you haven't already listened to some of those, and they're calling your name, like we said, all summer they'll be there waiting for you. So
Forever, like from the Sandlot. Forever.
And actually, I mean, they haven't come out as the release or so yet, but we have a couple more coming to by the time you listen to this, they will have been out. But talking about the glorification of our quote unquote busy
Oh,
American
yes.
lifestyle, the busy American lifestyles, that was I think that'll hit home with a lot of people because I'm feeling it when I'm in May, December, quote unquote, which is, May and December and feeling I'm a bit end of my rope with all the activities and the family and at this time of year and kind of feeling that the excitement of summer, but also the pressure of trying to make it,
Wrap it
a
all up.
memorable summer, but a memorable summer too, like getting the travel plans and everything has to be in advance and all that kind of stuff. So we talked about that. We're also going to do a networking episode. So all you out there who want to, have heard the term of networking and that you need to be doing it, whether you're a job seeker, career changer, building your business, we are going to release a really fun episode about it's fun, but it's also, I think it'll be a really useful and like powerful episode about how you can start to network in simple incremental ways, right?
Yep. Yep. So yeah, we hope that we inspire you and have put out interesting topics that you all like relate to in one way or another. We know that not everybody that listens to us is necessarily an entrepreneur like we are, but we do hope that there are messages that we have put across in these episodes that you could take away, these little sound bites and, little just our quotes. And that kind of leads us into how we're gonna kind of wrap up the episode of our season in review. I have really loved this season. I was reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I signed up recently for his email list. And every Thursday, he sends out an email and it's called the 321 Thursday, like Thursday email. And it encompasses 3 quotes or 3 ideas from him, 2 quotes from other people, and one kind of question to leave you kind of thinking and pondering. And if you're on our email list, you'll know that a few weeks ago, we did send out an email utilizing this format and pulling awesome quotes that our guests and we have said throughout the season. And so we thought that in true, support of my love of James Clear, that we would utilize that format for the end of this episode. So that leads us into our 3 ideas from Denyse and I. And that first one was Denyse's quote, and I'm going to let her say it. But this is something that, she practices and preaches and really drives in with her clients and even in our conversation. And I'm going to go drum roll.
Yes, it's something I love to tell people because I think it helps level set. You can always change a plan. You can never change an unplan. And we probably talked about it before, but most memorably, we talked about that in episode number 22, which is coming up. And so, check that out and take a look at that. That was said to me by a mentor, but someone in leadership. I would have come when I was in Semantic or VeriSign Corporation in high tech when I was working in sales communications. It always stuck with me. So Paul Scott, wherever you are out there living a nice retired life, that stuck with me. And that just goes to prove too that leadership counts. But change, if you have a plan, and that's exactly what happened in our season 2 plan. We had a plan. We thought we were going to do all guest spots. But then, halfway through, we kind of shifted gears and it worked for us, right? So we changed our plan. But if we didn't have a plan or we just plan or we kind of did episodes as we did in season 1, where we kind of just, thought about things as they came, it would have looked different. And I think that I liked having the plan and then we had the freedom to change it.
Correct. And I think when we went through the episodes and we recognized, hey, we missed the one big piece that made Midlife Mailbox the Mailbox. And that was us talking about the things that were relevant and going on in our lives. We recognized that we needed to bring them back. So there we go. That's how that came in.
We lived that. We lived that quote.
We lived that.
We lived it. So.
Yes. And so check out episode 22. And you can hear Denyse and how she frames, you can always change a plan, but you can never change an unplan. The next quote that we really, really liked, I actually said, and this is, we have one life. We just have this one. And why are you not running like you are on fire towards your wildest dreams? And I think this particular quote, it was said in
episode when we talked about, let me see here. When we talked about life moves quickly, write down your dreams. That was episode 21.
Right, correct. Episode 21. And it really just sums up a lot about the reason that Denyse and I started this podcast, 2 seasons ago. And that is, why not? We have one life, so you might as well live it and do the things that bring you joy and make you excited and fill you with life, fill you with happiness and vitality. So definitely go back and check out episode 21. because I think that you'll find that there's a lot of great nuggets of wisdom included in that one.
Yep. And then Amy also had another insightful quote over there when she was talking about this, when we were actually talking about the sandwich generation. And that was episode where I was in particularly kind of in a stressful time. And we recorded it and Amy's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk about what's going on in my life." And it truly is a midlife topic. And I mean, it was all the way back in February. We're recording this end of May here. And it seems like a lifetime ago. Thankfully, things have improved a lot in my family, my dad's health and things. And so I'm in a place where I'm not in that high stress situation. But this is what Amy said. And I think it's helpful if you are in that or when you do become in a stressful situation. When something seems stressful and out of reach, or just a little bit too hard for what you can physically manage at that moment, how do you break that down in half to be able to take that step to move forward? And I'll let that sink in. I think that was her being a great friend there. But in addition,
Aw.
it's true in anything you're in a goal you're working on, right? It These grand overt gestures that we think sometimes that changing your life that changing your life or changing your relationship or changing, your
Anything.
business, your career, or going on social media, starting a social media strategy, for your business or if you're
Starting to network.
yeah, it doesn't we think of it as this big thing that has to change, but small change can happen, with or change can happen with small increments of action too. But it's moving forward that's important. And so I thought that was nice. That helped me in that particular moment to kind of, well, maybe I'm not going to be, growing my business in that like couple weeks, even though that was my plan originally. But I was really, gung ho in the beginning of the year. I was gonna, spend all this, additional time strategizing and waking up early. And while all those things didn't happen at that time, and I got a bit thwarted, I did do some small things to during that time that where I was able to progress. And now I'm in a much better place where I can have the time, the headspace to do all those things. So I just had to be a little
Yep.
patient too.
Yep.
Patience is not in my box, but
Yes, neither one of us are very patient, but I think all of those quotes and all of those pieces from those episodes really, really tie into how Denyse and I live our life right now. And I think when it came time to put those episodes together, those are things that we constantly are thinking about. And I utilize the stressful piece, and something seems out of reach. I talk about that with my clients all the time in terms of how do you work on those very small little habits to make something? Because a year from now, if you start to make small little efforts, right, you will notice a difference. You might not notice it right now, but you'll notice it later. And so
right.
I think that those three pieces really help to highlight our season and our mindset and the energy that we put into what we do every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that light, our guests, I mean, we chose 2 quotes from our guests, but there could have probably been 10 quotes from our guests. But
Definitely.
in keeping with that 3-2-1 format, 2 quotes that stood out to us that I think embody, you know, what we shared this season and kind of what came out of all the great interviews and content that we prepared for you all. The first one we decided to highlight was from Beth Bowen. Beth was like I said, someone from my high school. That was episode 17, and talked about how she became a self-taught international abstract artist, and she,
Amazing.
yeah, within a couple years, she was, exhibiting her work at the Louvre and how to deal with home goods. I mean, it doesn't get more inspirational than that, guys. But this is her quote, right? And I think maybe this will set the tone for that episode.
Your life, your canvas. That's it. We can recreate, we can paint over and start fresh.
And Beth's episode's fun too, because not only do we talk about her inspiration to be an artist, but she's got a lot of great stories in there. She's celebrities that she knows and all sorts of cool things. She was on a Bravo reality show at one point. she suffered divorce, losing a parent too soon, all sorts of different things. So check out episode 18 or 17 if you want to get inspired about that. So
it was great. And
yeah.
Our other quote that we have that again really kind of embodies our season and our episodes is, you really have to find what works for you, right? And that was from episode 14 with Stephanie German, and we'll include the quote here for you to hear.
You really have to find like what works for you,
Mhm.
right? What works for me and my personality and how I function isn't going to be the same for someone else.
Mhm.
So with Stephanie, that quote really embodies, you really have to find what works for you. What works for me and my personality and how I function isn't going to be the same for someone else. And Denyse and I really liked that statement that Stephanie shared, because you do have to find what works for you. When we talk about these small changes, when we talk about, running towards your wildest dreams, when we talk about, making a life that is your own, you have to, your life and the things that you do is only going to work for you, right? So we can offer you these tips and we can offer you these, these ideas, but you have to take those and put them into practice based off of your own success.
Right. Agreed. And I think that's one of the benefits of being in midlife. You have a better sense of who you are, I think, or hopefully, you're moving towards that. Um, Better sense of who you are, a better sense of, how you work, and, work meaning like how you tick, how you function physically, mentally, spiritually, in your health, and doing and customizing this advice and these values and these lessons that we've learned, for you, and I think that that'll speak volumes for, what you can use, coming out of midlife at the mailbox this season.
Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we wanted to talk about, and I'm going to let Denyse tee this off because it's been her quote and something that we all can strive for. And so, Denyse, I will hand it back over to you.
Sure. I think this is probably, I just had an epiphany. It's probably my theme of 2023. And I'm gonna roll with that. We're halfway through, and I think it's true so far. So, what would your life be like, you listeners in the mailbox, if you shifted your focus from seeking perfection to embracing the beauty of progress? And it's really progress in life, not perfection. And I think I repeated that in almost every episode because it's true. And I think it's most true in midlife. So that's what we want to leave you with today, listeners. What would take one piece, one thing of the all the episodes and guests and information we shared today, and just make some progress that would be meaningful for you, right? And that's important because what progress looks like to me, it'll be different for Amy. It'll be different for, my next door neighbor 3 houses down, right?
Yep.
Seek to make progress, not perfection, moving forward. I'm going off topic here, Amy, but today I overheard my husband was listening to an inspirational commencement speech from Denzel Washington. I don't know when or where, but it was Denzel's voice I was listening to this morning as we were up early and talking about, this idea about falling back. And he was saying, why do people always say that, falling back, right? Kind of sounds negative, right? When you fall back, you can't see what's behind you. You could get hurt. What if you fall forward, right? And so same with that idea of perfection. It's not necessary. You don't have to be perfect, but how about making some progress, move that movement towards, lean into that goal it is, whatever it looks like, right?
I love that. Very profound and very something definitely to think about.
Well, this has been so fun. To call it a labor of love is nothing less than true. I've so enjoyed being at the mailbox this season. We hope you have too. It is really our passion project, and we look forward to sharing more things, having a new mission potentially in season 3. We're going to work on that this summer. We're going to take a hiatus. Spend time with our kids. We're going to take the trip. We're going to, find those micro moments of enjoyment and do all sorts of things. I'm preparing. I got selected to speak at a women's conference in Fresno. I'm going to be speaking at the 34th annual Central California Women's Conference about midlife. So thank you, Midlife at the Mailbox, for giving me this platform to test out a lot of different concepts. So I'm also still coaching. So you can find me at drcareercoaching.com. And it's going to be launching a lot more group programs, hopefully in the future. So keep abreast of my Instagram and LinkedIn and check that out. Amy, what are you working on this summer?
So this summer, I'm going to be working on a Canva course. That's something that I've been really trying to get off the ground. So I hope that come fall, I'll be able to say the first session went off with a bang. I hope that I have, I know I have interested people. So it's just a matter of, putting the course together and pulling out the stops. And, like I said at the top of the show, I really like to enjoy my summer. We are going to be traveling, my husband and I, while my son is at camp, and taking a much needed vacation together. Denyse and her husband like to travel a lot solo, right? Just the two of them and without kids. That's what I mean by solo. Mike and I don't do that as often, and we have not done that in many, many years. So we're looking forward to being able to just kind of take it easy this summer and add some other clients to my list. And that's kind of what I see for it. But I'm excited to brainstorm with you, Denyse, this summer as to kind of how we envision our season 3 and what we envision that to look like, and the lessons and the conversation, and kind of see what our goals for as we wrap up the rest of as we wrap this year and move into next.
Absolutely. And Mailbox, sometimes you guys are quiet out there. Let us know if you have any suggestions. When we talk to you, we hear from our listeners. But if you're, send us a DM, send us a message. If you have a topic that you think we haven't covered yet, we'll add it to our topic list. And, that's definitely up for grabs. Or if you have a guest, someone that you think would be great for us to interview next season, let us know, because we've really enjoyed that piece too. And we'll be bringing back guests, but also having our midlife moment chats, because can't miss out on those.
Those are our favorite.
Yeah,
and the interviews too, but it gives us our gab time.
Yeah. So well, thank you, everyone. This has been great. And season 2,
it's a wrap.
Bye, everyone. Have a great.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for this week. In season 2, our goal is to share actionable tips with you. We hope this podcast episode leaves you feeling encouraged and full of midlife energy. But don't go away yet. Be sure to check out our show notes. And while you're there, click to join our email list. We promise we'll send only meaningful content. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram too, for the show at Midlife at the Mailbox, or our individual accounts for our own tips and tricks at Amy L. Alex 28 and Denyse Rabat. That's Denyse with a Y. Thanks, Mom. So that we can come into your inbox each week and your feed almost daily.
If you're a seasoned listener or just found us, we're glad you did. Make sure that you are following our show on your favorite podcast platform. And if you like what you hear, please share our episode with your midlife bestie and leave us a 5-star review so more awesome listeners like you can discover Midlife at the Mailbox. We release new episodes every other week on Thursdays. At least we try. Our podcast is a production from the minds of 2 midlife besties and produced with love by the very creative Amy Alexander and Denyse Rabat. Professional video and audio editing by Hivecast. See you at the Mailbox.
Bye.